Hi, I'm Rick, and this is Let's Level Up. Now, tabletop gaming is kind of at its renaissance period, and what I mean by that are people are ditching the MMOs and traditional video games and heading back to the table, bringing some of their friends together with a night of great gaming. Couldn't be happier about this. Now, there are a ton of great games out there, board games, card games, role-playing games, and part of Let's Level Up's mission is to actually bring a spotlight to this. Today we're going to talk about an expansion for one of the first games that really made me realize how good tabletop gaming can be, and that was Settlers of Catan. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Settlers of Catan, players take the role of a city builder, or a settler rather, and in turn compete with each other to gather resources and build things like roads, cities, and settlements. Each of these things could potentially give you victory points, and the first player to so many victory points wins. Well, the expansion pack we're going to be talking about is going to be Explorers and Pirates. Now, this is a pretty fantastic expansion, introduces a nice theme, and it's really almost quite standalone. You really only need a few items from the base game, but without those items you can't play this. So it's still officially an expansion pack, but allows you to tread the seas of Catan and actually settle some different island colonies out there, as well as gather things like spices, even do some fishing, or even maybe attacked by pirates. So it introduces a new element of danger to the settler. So come with me, we're going to open this game up. I'm going to give you our official review on Catan Explorers and Pirates. Thanks a lot for watching. Okay, so before we get started, one of the things we're going to actually have to do is build the board. And that actually I can see as a gripe for some people. This may be more of a hardcore gamer, or at least if you're going to play this, know that you're going to have to allot 15 to 30 minutes to set up the board. I'm sure this time is going to decrease as you go through it, but there are a lot of different pieces that you're going to have to put together. Explorers and Pirates is going to make this even more difficult because it's not like the normal Catan of having to build a simple hexagon. You actually have to construct the sea and actually 3 different land masses. That may be a negative for some people. Just wanted to let you know. So, one of the things that I like about this expansion pack is that it really introduces a very cool theme. The idea of being able to finally traverse the open waters of Catan, explore uncharted lands, it's going to bring a nice, surprising, maybe even more replayable element to this game that you wouldn't generally get with the normal Settlers, if you're one of those kinds of players. There are 3 big mechanic changes in this game, or rather additions to this game. We'll get into some of the deviations here in a bit. But before we get started in this video, let's talk about what's new. First and foremost is the addition of pirates. Now, these pirate layers are going to be hidden and discovered when you explore this tile, or this kind of tile. You notice that some of the tiles are going to have a sun on the back, some of them are going to have a moon on the back, and that just lets you know what area of the island, of the sea that these tiles are going to be placed. Pirate layers actually allow you to commit resources to, and you essentially take them over. You're going to be doing this for a couple reasons. One, when you clear out a pirate layer, you're going to get gold. And 2, there's going to be a bonus objective for anybody, let me turn this the right way, anybody that's going to be able to clear out the number of pirate layers. So you can see here, if I clear out 1 layer, I get 1, another get a 1, finally I started getting 2 victory points, 2 victory points, 2 victory points, 3, and 3. So this is a way for you to actually end up winning the game. You'll also notice that some of these pirate tokens will have a number space on there in addition to what you would normally see in Settlers. So when the dice roll on this value, if you have a units committed here, you can actually get additional gold. And again, gold is something that you're going to be able to trade in for victory points at the end of the game. The next kind of tile we're going to talk about are fishing schools. These fishing schools allow you to get fish. This helps feed your people within Catan. essentially you'll take your ships and you'll put these fish on the ships and you'll transport these back to a friendly harbor. Once you do that, you'll be able to catch these fish in again for victory points. So this again, it's almost following the exact same point mechanic as the pirates. So as my scoring token's going to increase here, I'm going to get more and more victory points for finishing, or rather for fishing in this game. And the final new additional component to the game is going to be the spice tile. Now this is going to be a tile that you're actually going to explore, much like all the other open sea areas. But on this tile, I'll be able to collect the resource of a spice. You can see it there. It's a little bag of spices. So I'll actually transport this on my ships back to a safe harbor and be able to turn those in with victory points. Watch out for pirates, though. As well as being able to get spice from this, I can also commit one of my crew here and take advantage of the perk that's at the bottom of this tile. The perk that you're seeing here is Fast Gold. This allows me to basically increase the rate of which I'm getting gold this turn. The other perks include Swift Voyage, which increases the rate of my ship speed. And then finally, there is a pirate bonus as well, which allows me to basically enhance the pirate mechanic. Spices, I think, other than the pirates, I think spices are the next most interesting mechanic to this game. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that make Catan Explorers and Pirates different from the original game. We've already talked about the 3 new enhancements and additions to rule mechanics. Now let's talk about some of the things that no longer apply that would in the normal Catan. Right off the bat, the big one is that there are no longer development cards. So you'll no longer be able to gain victory points or really be able to shift the way the economy or the gameplay is going by playing a strategic development card. There are no longer the longest road or longest army special victory points. Settlements can no longer be upgraded to cities. And there's no robber piece. And the robber was a big one. The robber was one of my actual favorite parts about Catan. However, with the new pirate mechanic, anytime a 7 is rolled, every player who has more than 7 resources still loses half of their resources. And if you're going through the game, whenever you start with scenario 2 and the pirate ship rule is added, the pirate ship will actually still act as the old robber. So it can still go to a space that a player controls, and then you can take resources from them. So that mechanic is still there, it's just been replaced with the new theme of the pirate. Let's take a look at the individual player components. First and foremost, we're going to have 3 scoring icons, which are going to be represented on each of the different tracks. One for where we're at with the pirate layers, one for where we're at with fishing, and then finally one for where we're at with the spice track. This will allow us to gauge who's in control for the bonus track. We're also going to have the original 5 settlements and 15 roads that are going to come with the original base game. In addition to those, we're going to have the ability to create harbor settlements. This allows us to create boats. We're going to have 3 ship icons, or rather tokens. We're going to have 2 of this icon, which isn't my favorite icon out there, but this is actually a settler. You can see that the settler is going to fit on the boat like that. So essentially, this ship is going to be able to transport either a crew and a fish or a spice or 1 settler. We're going to have 9 of the crew figures. And finally, 1 pirate ship. In addition to starting the game, we're also going to start out with 2 gold, which we'll be able to use as a resource. Now, one of the good things about Catan Explorers and Pirates, although it adds a lot of new mechanics, there's actually a very user-friendly way for them to introduce it to you. This rule booklet here that's going to come with your game will introduce scenario by scenario one new mechanic until eventually you're playing with everything. Now, this is a very cool way, I think, to introduce novice players, especially who haven't played Catan before, of the mechanics of the game, and allow you to become more familiar with each of the big changes in the game. So if you see here, scenario 1 starting setup looks something like this, and then finally when everything's said and done, you'll have a giant table full. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go through there and set this up, and I'll show you what the game looks like, and then give you our official score. The left side of the map is going to be composed of your original tiles from Catan, and it's just generally you're going to build the frame up around it as you're seeing here, shuffle the tiles, and then just place them randomly. You could also, I guess, pick and choose where you want them to go, if that's what you're inclined to do. Now, the large island sections here on the right side of the map, where you're going to be doing most of your exploring, are going to be comprised of two different stacks of tiles. The first is going to be the moon tiles, which will go on top, and the second will be the sun tiles on bottom. And these tiles are actually composed of 7 of the standard, and then 3 fishing, 3 pirate, and finally the 3 spice. So what you're going to do is shuffle these up really good. A lot better than this. And then you're going to take these tiles and place them like so. So as you're exploring these tiles and you get a ship over here, when you flip the tile up, you won't quite ever really know what you're going to get. And some of these tiles, there's a couple that are just open sea. Where are they? Like this. So sometimes you'll flip one up and it'll just be another sea tile. So again, you never quite know what you're going to get when it comes to these. So I'm going to go ahead and finish building out these this section of the island. That way you can get a real full picture of how the board's going to look. Okay, so there you have it. Here's our finished product with everything kind of put together outside of the individual player tokens. There's also going to be a stack of the number tiles here, kind of like this. That'll have either a sun or a moon that you're going to want to keep close by the table. That way when you flip over a land tile, you'll know what number each of those are going to be whenever you roll the dice. So essentially what's going to happen in this game is I'm going to build a harbor somewhere here in the map, and that harbor is going to allow me to produce a crew and a ship. And then this ship is going to travel across the sea and be able to explore each of these tiles. So for instance, this right away is going to be a pirate lair. Then I will basically have to encounter the pirates and be able to commit my actual uses of either crew or settlers and actually take over that pirate lair. In doing so, I'm going to be able to get gold and victory points, remember. So the 3 big ways I'm going to get victory points in this game are going to be from fishing, from spices, and taking over these pirate lairs. If this game seems like something that's going to interest you, I strongly recommend you pick it up. Again, you can pick it up pretty much anywhere that's going to sell tabletop games. It is a Catan expansion, so it's going to be really popular. I'm assuming anyway. I don't know. To me, it really almost kind of muddles what makes Catan so great, because it added, I think, some unnecessary complexity to the game. However, I can definitely see if I were to play Catan every day, and if I were a hardcore Catan player, which I'm not, I can see where this really may spice up the game, no pun intended, to make things more interesting, more challenging, and also a little fresher Catan experience for your tabletop gaming group. So if that's something that you're needing and looking for in a Catan game, I think this may be it for you. I think our official review score is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. And it's a little bit, it's probably our lowest score to date. But here's the reasons why. One, I hate assembling this grid. And after everything's said and done, it looks pretty nice. I mean, it's not terrible, that's for sure. It's a bit too modular for me, and if I could try to explain this without really complaining about it, the things like this, like the gaps in the tiles here, I mean, those, as I'm playing the game, I tend to focus on things like that, and it really kind of distracts from my playing experience. Again, it's more of my OCD gaming than really taking a knock on the game itself. However, knowing that I'm going to have to put this game together, not only that, but disassemble this game, there are a lot of working pieces in this thing. Cleanup time and setup time is going to take away from me actually being able to play the game. And that may be an unfair judgment when you compare it to other games like Lords of Waterdeep, for instance, which is not quite the same thing. It's just a worker placement game, but it has the one flat board. I set it down, I assemble the tokens, and then we're ready to play. This game, I'm actually constructing the board, shuffling all the tokens and the tiles together, making sure everything fits, making sure we don't break things by moving the table. So it could really, I think, hamper things in the long run. However, it's still Catan, it's still going to be a really fun game to play, and it still may be a good game for you and your group. So I recommend you check it out. At least go to your game shop, see if they have a demo of it, and take a look for yourself. Again, Catan was one of the games that was first brought to my attention to really introduce me to the world of tabletop gaming outside of RPGs, and this expansion I think is good. However, I think it's a little bit more than what Catan needs. Hope you guys found this review helpful, and if you did, please like the video, comment to see what game you'd like to see. Let me know what game you'd like to see next. I believe we have Flux the board game coming, which is going to be really fun. It's another brand new game and part of our 2D6 project that we're doing with all the guys there. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please go to letslevelup.net and subscribe to our websites, our social media sites that we have, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. We still have our contest giveaway we're going, and I'll have another video up announcing that here a bit. Again, thank you so much, and I really appreciate everything you guys are doing as far as comments and feedback. I hope you guys like the game, and I hope you found this this review helpful. Thanks a lot.